Features with Livingston and Ted Jeller too, and our host Vincent Landau, and he brings it to you. Creature Features and all creatures and all creatures. And the creature gonna get you tonight. You better not turn out your bedroom light. He'll grab your head and give it such a bite. You may even die just from a fright. You ain't nothing gonna be, baby. You ain't nothing gonna be alright. Cause the creature gonna get you, baby. Gonna get you tonight.
A riddle for you, Livingston. What do Lucille Ball, Jane Mansfield, Phyllis Diller, and Shirley Temple all have in common?
They are all deceased Hollywood starlets. And even if they were still alive, not one of them would be caught dead as a guest on this program.
Please forgive my butler Livingston's lack of interest and enthusiasm for our show. Typically, he's a rather pleasant bloke when he isn't whinging about his appearance at the commencement.
I do not whinge.
Right. Welcome to Creature Features. The dainty and delightful damsel of demolition over here would be my tempestuously terrifying tenant, Tangella. You've already met the curmudgeon to this side. And I'm your magnificently mirthful host, Vincent Van Dor. As to the query I hoisted upon Mr. Happyface over here, the answer is rather simple. Those famous actresses were all friends with our guest for the night, Mr. Barry Barsamian. This splendid chap is a confidant to many Hollywood luminaries, as well as a collector of wardrobe and props from the silver screen, and was even a curator for a San Francisco museum. He'll tell us more than a few tantalizing tales from Tinseltown as he shares with us some of the more fascinating pieces from his spectacular collection. Yes, I did see the Shirley Temple dress. However, as petite as you happen to be, my dear, there's no way in Hades that it shall fit you. However, I'm sure it would look quite enchanting on you if it did fit, love. And since this is a show wrapped around a movie, tonight's feature will be The Corpse Vanishes from 1942. It stars Bela Lugosi and a handful of pretties whose names escape me at the moment. We presented this film once before, over 3 years ago, and everyone wrote to tell us just how much they loved it, except for the people who wrote to us to convey their complete and utter loathing of it. Your mileage may vary. So don't go away, because it's going to be another night of Hollywood fashion fright right here on Creature Features.
I rather liked that film.
Right. You're so like Blutwurst. Stay tuned.
Portions of this program are sponsored by DoorTech, distributor of quality commercial doors nationwide.
It is time for your favorite show. Absolutely favorite show, right? Well, you know, I try to get them to say that, but they don't. Oh, but it's close. It's Creature Features. And we've got Barry Barsamian. He is a Hollywood historical collector, right? Is that close?
Yeah, very well. Historian
Historian and
Yeah.
historical item collector.
collector, yeah, and an actor and somebody who enjoys the passion of Hollywood and movies.
Friend of the stars.
Yeah.
We're going to talk about. You should see this list of friends. Shirley Temple,
Jane Russell,
Jane Russell,
Lucille Ball,
and Phyllis Diller.
Phyllis Diller. Mike Connors was my dad's first cousin.
Oh my goodness, that's Mannix, right?
Mannix, yeah.
This is a man who's got some stories to tell. He's going to tell us tonight. But we're going to be watching The Corpse Vanishes. Have you seen this film?
A long time ago.
All right.
Yeah.
Well, so I can tell you how it ends. The corpse actually vanishes.
Really?
Well, I think so. That's what the title is.
I'm
so
surprised.
one could assume 1942. They did not lie with the advertising, right? Maybe? No, I don't know. We'll see. Anyways, we're going to watch that film. Barry's got some amazing things to show you. I cannot believe the collection he brought. You know, I thought you were just going to bring like 2 small items. And he had a huge like moving van of items to bring. So we're going to like rush through all this stuff because it's amazing, but you're going to love it. All right, and the trip up was okay?
Marvelous, yeah.
No encounters with birds, ghosts?
No.
Flung clam chowder from the side of the road? You know that happens to some guys.
Does it really? No.
No.
No, I didn't know about flung clam chowder.
I don't think Bodega Bay is very welcoming as it once was. We've had more than one guest get an entire container of clam chowder tossed upon the windscreen on the automobiles.
Oh.
I don't know why.
Oh, I've seen a lot of saltwater taffy and kites up in Bodega
Saltwater taffy
Bay.
and kites. It's our #1 export. Yes. It's sent like all over several zip codes.
Oh.
It's magical. Oh. All right, let's start the film. You stay there. You guys stay. Don't you dare change that channel. And we're going to start the film. And when we come back, Barry's going to show us something quite amazing. See you soon.
And you, Phyllis Hamilton, do you take this man to be your legal, lawfully wedded husband, to love, honor, and obey, until death do you part?
I do.
Oh! She's fainted, Dr. Rayburn.
Take her into the anteroom.
Yes, sir.
Dr. Rayburn, I'm Pat Hunter from the Chronicle.
Please, this is no time for interviews.
Shall I telephone for the ambulance?
No, the undertaker. She's dead.
Here you are, you can go now.
Is that all? Gee, thanks.
Good evening, Dr. Rayburn. I'm from the Forest Mortuary.
Forest Mortuary? Why, 2 of your men just drove away with the body a few moments ago.
Well, there must be some mistake. They weren't our men.
Well, I've heard of ambulance chasing, but this is something new.
New? It's sensational. Another kidnapping of a dead bride. What a story!
And a few minutes ago, one of the men who helped remove the body of the mysteriously dead bride was apprehended by the police.
Go on, keep talking.
Oh, what I told you, I was standing on the corner, minding my own business, when along comes a stiff riding. A guy poked his head out of the window and asked me if I want to make a couple of bucks.
How many men were with that hearse?
2. At least all I could see.
What'd they look like?
I don't know. It was dark. I didn't pay no attention to faces.
You noticed the license?
What, with $2 staring me in the face?
Come on, tell the truth. What'd you do with the corpse?
I didn't do nothing with it. What I tell you is the truth. So help me.
As District Attorney, Mrs. Wentworth, I assure you there won't be any trouble. You can proceed with the wedding as planned.
Well, we want some assurance besides words. We want protection.
I'll have plenty of men guarding the chapel. And if I'm any judge of the appearance of your daughter, she looks as healthy as she is beautiful.
Well, really, Mother, I think you're making much ado about nothing.
You're not worried, are you?
Not in the least.
Well, if we have protection, I'll feel much better about it.
You'll have it all right, Mrs. Wentworth. Tell Jones and Riley to wait. I'll pick him up.
That's the Wentworth mother and daughter, isn't it? Is the wedding called off?
Certainly not. And there isn't going to be any trouble either.
That's what all the rest of them thought.
I can't answer for Miss Wentworth's health, but your paper can print one thing, and that is that there'll be no more theft of girls' bodies.
Yeah. This'll get you and Sandy into the wedding, and I want plenty of photographs.
Oh, don't worry, boss. I got enough film to cover the Russian front.
Oh, Mr. Keenan, you promised to take me off the society column.
Oh, quit beefing. You're getting a break. This is the most exclusive wedding of the year.
What if the Wentworth girl drops dead, too?
You'll still tell me what she's wearing, along with the rest of the fancy pants. Get me the guest list and don't bother about anything else. I've got 3 men working with the police, and there'll be plenty more thereabouts. If the bride pulls up this time, there won't be any snatching. Now get going.
What if I get a clue?
Oh, I wouldn't let that bother me, sweetie pie. You wouldn't know a clue if it bit you.
I'll remember those words, stooge.
Why are you so nervous, Mother? After all, I'm the one that's getting married.
Oh, I just can't help it. I'm so afraid something will go wrong.
Forget it. Nothing can possibly happen.
Oh, Alice! Oh, you look perfectly beautiful.
I look all right.
Oh, yes, I'm so thrilled.
Oh, I am too. Have you seen Dwight?
No.
Make it snappy. We're late and this wedding won't wait for us.
Can I help it if we had a blowout?
Serves you right. Why don't you buy some new tires for this bus?
You know, I've been thinking of getting some... Hey, are you kidding?
Come on.
You mustn't come in here. It's bad luck.
Oh, not even a peek?
Not even one. You'll see me soon enough.
You see?
Girls, do you mind if I have these last few minutes alone with Alice?
Oh,
I know. We understand.
Well, Mother, you're about to lose me.
I hope not forever, dear.
Oh, of course not. What are you talking about?
Do you feel all right, dear?
Certainly. I never felt better in my life. You should forget all that silly nonsense about those brides dropping dead.
For Miss Wentworth.
Oh, thank you. From Dwight, no doubt.
Oh, wear this next to your heart, darling. All my love. What an unusual orchid.
Well, I never saw one like it before. It's lovely.
It's beautiful.
The minister is ready, Mrs. Wentworth.
Thank you. Say a little prayer, darling.
You look faint, dear. Do you feel all right?
Oh, 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 Alice, Alice, Alice. Oh, darling, darling, are you all right? Oh, Alice, dear, Alice. Oh.
It's happened again.
I just got the picture of the month.
I just phoned the news to Keenan. Did you get any more pictures?
Did I get pictures? I covered everything except a close-up of this pretty posy.
Why, that looks like the one the bride wore. What are you doing with it?
Presenting it to you, sweetheart, as a token of my devotion. Take a smell.
Who ever heard of an orchid with a scent?
Well, that one has. Maybe it's a clue.
What a peculiar sweet odor.
Yeah, make a swell romaine salad. Hey, Pat, you're not going to pass out too, are you?
No, no, I'm okay.
Portions of this program are brought to you by Micromat, making products that keep your Macintosh running at its best.
Welcome back to Creature Features. We are watching The Corpse Vanishes with Mr. Barry Barsamian. And I want to talk about this here, but first, this film, Stealing Brides' Corpses. Corpse Bride. Wasn't there a film called The Corpse Bride?
I've heard of Corpus Christi, but I think that's something else.
You know, I always thought a Christie named Corpse. No, a corpse named Christie. Right. Anyway, so the movie will get interesting, I'm told. You know, I've seen this film before, and I don't recall it at all. Happens sometimes. What in God's name do we have here?
We have Shirley Temple's original costume from 20th Century Fox's 1937 classic Heidi.
I love that film.
So do I.
And this is the one.
This is the one. This is the one from the Christmas scene where...
It's so velvety.
Well, it is velvet.
It's beautiful. And this is from 1936?
Well, it came out in 37. It probably was filmed in 36.
Right.
But Shirley Temple was a friend of mine, Shirley Temple Black, and her mother had it written in her contract that she could keep all of her costumes. That was marvelous, wasn't it?
Goodness.
And so in the film, you know, Heidi is this little girl, orphaned, living with her grandfather in the Swiss Alps, who is then plucked by this evil woman to sell her to help at a family, a wealthy family's place. And Shirley, optimist that she is, decides she's going to teach the girl who is unable to walk to walk.
Right.
So the surprise of the film is on Christmas, and they go in to see the Christmas tree. She sings Silent Night wearing this dress, and she helps the little girl walk again, and she walks.
And all because of this dress?
I guess so.
You know, I think if she was wearing like something different, like a flapper costume that was popular back in the 30s, right? Or was that the 20s?
Probably
Flapper,
the 20s, yeah. Well, she wouldn't be wearing spandex, we know that.
No spandex.
Not in the 30s.
No. Well, one would hope not.
But
even during like the 2000s, I hope she would.
But I'll tell you something interesting. This has sort of a creature features twist. The man who played the father in Heidi was in Rosemary's Baby years later.
Oh my goodness.
I forget his name, but in this movie he was Herr Sesamon.
Wow.
The girl's father. And Shirley herself told me, you know, that's the guy in Rosemary's Baby.
That is absolutely interesting, but there is something else interesting right here. What is this?
Shall I show you?
You should show me because it's...
Well, this...
I'm confused.
This is Lucille Ball's wig from the 1968 film, Yours, Mine, and Ours.
The actual wig.
That she wore, yes.
On her head.
On her head. Well, yeah. Where else would she wear? Yeah. She was in a wonderful film that was based on a true story where a man who had, I think, 8 children marries a woman who has 7, and
this
they
is incredible.
fall
This is
in
not
love.
a typical wig.
No, it's not. In fact, it's called a ventilated wig. It's made like a toupee.
Oh, I can see.
See the netting?
Right.
Yeah, the netting.
And they just put like makeup or something.
Well, yeah, they glue it on, and then they push the makeup into...
Oh, it even smells like Lucille Ball.
It does? I didn't notice that.
No?
No.
Don't you smell these items you purchase?
This
is what Lucille
really.
Ball smelled like.
Really?
This is the closest I shall ever get to Lucille Ball. Look at this. This is the closest I shall ever be. And you met her. You knew her.
I did. I worked on a special called the I Love Lucy birthday special.
Smell Lucille. Tell me that smells like her.
It's Aquanet.
No.
Yes, hairspray.
No, there's a sweet aroma in there.
Oh, well, okay. Well, it must have been her perfume that was left behind.
Humor me.
But I
Humor
met
me.
but I
This
met
is her perfume.
but I met her in 1986, and I've got to tell you, she was one of the warmest, nicest people you would ever want to meet.
Oh, I have no doubt.
And
no doubt.
loving and sweet and just bigger than life and personable and warm.
Right.
She was filming Life with Lucy, her last series, and we stayed in touch after that.
How wonderful.
Which was very nice, yeah.
That's absolutely fabulous. Well, let's go to like something less happy, The Corpse Vanishes. And when we come back, you've got some other amazing things to show us, right?
Okay.
All right. You guys stay with us. We're going back to The Corpse Vanishes. Don't go away.
You stay right here.
What kind of a gag is this? No driver, no license plate.
Maybe it isn't a gag. Maybe it's a decoy.
Well, maybe you're right.
Calling all cars, calling all cars. Another abduction of a girl's corpse. Brunette, 22 years of age. Stop and search all trucks and suspicious-looking cars. That is all. Burnside.
Pile out. We're taking a look inside this rig.
Sure thing, officer.
Hey, Pete. It's a corpse, all right, but not the one we're looking for.
Go ahead.
Change that headline to read as wedlock challenged. Then set up an editorial attacking the DA's office for playing marbles while some madman runs away with the bodies of dead brides.
Okay, Mr. Keenan.
Send me up the proofs right away. Oh, so it's you. Well, of all the rotten stories that have ever been turned into this office, yours takes the prize. No guest list, and we don't even know what the bride wore.
She wore this orchid.
Listen, Miss Hunter, I have a great responsibility. I'm a public servant. Parents are calling the Chronicle frantically with tears in their voice, begging for news of their daughters. I have a daughter myself who's about to be married. Maybe she'll drop dead, too. But she won't drop dead from an orchid.
I didn't say that.
Well, then what are you talking about?
Every one of the brides that died and disappeared were wearing one of these orchids.
How do you know?
Well, I checked. Look at these pictures.
All right, perhaps it's a coincidence. It still doesn't spell anything.
Then where did the Wentworth girl get this orchid? The bridegroom didn't give it to her.
Perhaps a dozen people gave it to her. Her mammy, her pappy.
No, they didn't either. I checked. Besides, this orchid has a peculiar odor. That's unusual.
Well, if you think it's a clue, why don't you follow it up?
Is that an assignment?
It's a notice that you're through if you don't bring something in.
Okay, Mr. Keenan.
My little family. You're all so very faithful.
Master, the Countess is waiting.
Upstairs?
There.
Oh, you must hurry. Mike? Are you suffering, my beloved?
Terribly. You must hurry.
I'm so sorry, but I was detained. Please forgive me.
Forgive you. You loiter and waste time while I wait here dying. Dying.
Courage. I will not let you die.
Better death than agony like this. Look at me. Look at me.
Calm yourself, my dear.
Now, will you hurry?
Courage, my dear, courage.
Why do you beat my son so hard?
Because he's a beast, an animal, and someday I shall have to destroy him.
My poor son, why was he ever born?
Can you bear to look at me now?
Of course. You're beautiful. And I shall always keep you that way.
Will she live?
As long as she can be of any use to us.
She's pretty. Very young.
All of them must be. Come, my dear. Look after the girl, Parker.
Yes, nurse.
Portions of Creature Features are brought to you by the Winchester Mystery House in San Jose, California. Explore the mystery at winchestermysteryhouse.com.
Welcome back to the show. Mr. Barry stepped away for a moment. He's going out to his limousine to get some more amazing things to show us.
Actually, it's a vintage car.
Oh, it's a vintage car. Well, it's not a vintage limousine?
We call them limousines, yes.
Oh, all right. So anyways, we'll get back to the movie soon, but we're going to take this opportunity to do our letters, aren't we?
Indeed.
Our correspondence, because it's important that we read the letters you write to us, right? Right. How about some mail? Mr. Livingston, how are you, sir?
Quite well, all things considered.
Rumor has it he has Captain Kangaroo's coat. I think you should try it on.
I'm not sure who that is.
He was famous. All right, first letter is from Raymond Jenkins in Richmond, Virginia. You know, that's a historical place.
Indeed.
And maybe he's a historical person. We'll find out. Dear Creature Features, your show has to be the stupidest program on television. Seriously, who watches this garbage? Yeah. Typically we start on a high note, don't we?
He must be from hysterical Virginia.
No, I'm talking about your selection of letters to pass to me.
Oh.
All right. The host is an idiot. The butler must be just as dumb to work for the host. And the girl with the goofy hair, that's you, I think, looks like she should be serving burgers at a biker bar. You guys should get off my TV and put the news back in the slot you stole it from. Jerks. Raymond Jenkins, Richmond, Virginia. Well, I don't know what to say about that, and I guess that's her comment on that. Let's do another letter, shall we? All right. This one is from Sweets Griffin. That's a real name, Sweets Griffin. I like it. All right. Subject is movies. I love horror movies. A lot of times you guys have good movies, but a lot of times they just aren't too good. But when you do, I'm always watching. I've been watching Creature Feature since I was a little kid. Well, that's often, sweets, Griffin. Why, Tangela, Amazon does not ship severed arms. I don't know what I'm going to do with her. All right, well, thanks for writing, sweets, and keep watching. I'll show. What else you got for me, Mr. Livingston?
I don't think she's very pleased at the moment.
You know, I think it'd be more effective if you just simply sent him like a horse's head or something like that, right? I don't know where she got this temper. She did not get it from me. I think she got it from you.
I beg your pardon?
Writing strongly worded letters, that's something you would do. I don't know about the severed arm part, but... All right, this last letter is from Frank Elman. He does not say where. He goes, Vincent, I just want to say I love your show, and I'm so glad that you showed Topper Returns. You know, we've gotten a lot of compliments on that film, so we need to do more Topper films, I think. Right?
Are there more?
I would hope, because he returns.
Ah, so that's
Topper
2.
Returns, so the first one maybe was Topper 1.0. It was the first time I'd ever seen Creature Features, but I'm glad I found you all when I did. I can remember watching this movie for the first time about 7 years ago with my father while I was still in junior high. So if he was in junior high 7 years ago, he's a young lad.
Quite.
Right. I grew up with all of these golden silver screen films and can definitely sympathize with Tangela's love of the classics. It's an addiction. See, so somebody was nice to you today. All right, Frank Ellen, thank you so much for writing, Frank, and keep watching the show as well. Is that it for mail?
That's it.
All right, if you'd like to send us a message by email, send it to the address you see appearing under my boot. Or if you'd like to send something in the post, like Tangela is going to send to our friend in Virginia, send it to the address you see appearing down here. We'll be right back with Barry, but first let's get back to the Corpse Vanishes.
None of the florists I checked with ever saw an orchid like that.
Well, that's not surprising. This particular type belongs to the Stanhopea class. It's a very rare species.
Do you know of anyone that grows them?
No. But if you wish to find out more about them, I suggest that you look up a man by the name of Lorenz. He was the one who originally hybridized this plant, over in Europe somewhere.
But I just can't go to Europe just to...
Oh, that isn't necessary. He lives up at Brookdale now.
Thank you, Mr. Smith.
You're quite welcome.
Looks like that box got a coffin in it, Jed.
Sure does. For Professor Lorenz. What do you suppose he wants with a coffin?
Search me. He's such a strange, spooky guy. The further I stay away from him, the better.
Me too.
I'll take charge of this.
Go ahead, take it away. Glad to get rid of it.
Taxi lady?
Yes.
Right this way. Where to, miss?
To the home of Professor Lorenz.
Lorenz, I'm sorry, I can't take you there. I'm out of gas.
You mean you won't take me?
Yes, ma'am, I'm sorry. I just...
Is this the only taxi in town?
Yes, ma'am, it is.
Look, I've simply got to get to the Lorenz place. I'll make it worth your while.
Oh, I'm sorry, lady, but that truck's going up there. You might get a ride with him. That is, if you don't mind riding with a coffin.
Would you give me a lift to the Lorenz place?
What do you want to go there for?
To see the professor.
Does he expect you?
No, but
Then we can't take you.
Get off and stay off.
Look, I've got to see Professor Lorenz. It's important.
I said you couldn't ride.
Hey, wait a minute. You've got my bag. Oh. Would you mind giving me a lift?
Well, certainly not. Where are you going?
I'm trying to get to the home of Professor Lorenz.
Well, you're in luck. That's where I'm going. Get in.
Thank you.
My name is Dr. Foster.
I'm Patricia Hunter.
Are you a friend of the Lorenz?
No, I'm a reporter. I hope to interview the professor. You're his doctor, I presume?
Well, not exactly. Lorenz is a doctor himself, but he has no license to practice. I've been working with him. We're trying to find a cure for his wife.
Oh, I see. What type of people are the Lorenzes?
You'll find them very interesting. Professor Lorenz is a man of unusual accomplishment, but his wife is rather peculiar. I expect you'll find them both a bit eccentric. Toby, tell your master I'm here.
Cheerful little fellow, isn't he?
I told you they were eccentric.
I'm inclined to believe you.
Get out, you gargoyle! Get out!
Good evening, Dr. Foster. Come right in.
Good evening, Professor Lorenz, the Countess. May I present Miss Patricia Hunter?
How do you do?
We have been expecting you.
So you found my bag in your truck?
Yes, there it is.
Miss Hunter's a newspaper woman.
I came here hoping you might grant me an interview.
An interview? About what?
No one asked you to come here. You are not welcome.
Control yourself, my dear. I'm sure Miss Hunter meant no harm. Please forgive my wife. She's not well. Come, you had better retire.
So that's what you call being eccentric. Well, I have another name for it.
I do not like that girl. She is here for no good.
We have nothing to fear.
I'm sorry, Professor, if we're intruding.
Not at all, Dr. Foster. This is our evening for work. Please, be seated.
Thank you.
What do you wish to interview me about?
Orchids.
Orchids?
Yes, I understand that you're an authority on the subject.
They were once my hobby, but I haven't grown any for several years. Which species are you interested in?
A very rare one of the Stanhopea type. A horticulturist told me that you're the original hybridizer of it.
Have you ever seen one?
Yes, I have one in my bag. I'll show it to you.
Where did you get it?
Oh, a friend of mine gave it to me. You see, I'm doing an article on orchids for my newspaper, and I thought that you might be willing to supply me with some special data.
I'm sorry I can't spare a time tonight, Miss Hunter. You see, I have very important work to do with Dr. Foster.
I understand.
If your interview can wait until morning, I'll drive you back here then. If that's agreeable to Professor Lorenz.
Well, it's quite agreeable, but I would suggest that you both stay here as my guests.
Thank you very much, but I prefer going to a hotel.
Just as you wish. I think it would be foolish to go out in such a storm.
The professor is right, Miss Hunter. Perhaps we had better remain. However, if you insist, I'll gladly drive you back to the village.
I'm afraid that would be an imposition since you've so much work to do. Thank you, I'll stay.
Toby will show you to your rooms. Toby, take up Miss Hunter's bag.
Good night.
Good night. I'll meet you in the study soon.
Very well.
Why did you ask her to spend the night here?
A very special reason.
This portion of Creature Features is brought to you by CreatureFeatureStore.com, the official merchandiser of Creature Feature accessories.
Have you actually counted the number of things?
No, I haven't.
You should do that.
Never really thought
You know,
about
it
that.
should be on like the certificate of authenticity.
Well, I don't even need one of those because I have a picture of Phyllis Diller wearing this dress.
Oh, that's all the proof you need. All the proof you need. Welcome back. We are watching The Corpse Vanishes here on Creature Features with Mr. Barry Barsamian. He is a Hollywood historical collector. Historian collector. I keep getting the...
And I'm a little hysterical, too.
A historical Hollywood collector. And this is a recognizable dress. See if you could recognize it, even though he already gave it away. It's Phyllis Diller's.
It's her chandelier dress.
That is incredible.
Yeah.
I've seen this.
Yeah, and it's
on television.
It's designed by Omar of Omaha, who is really a female designer.
That sounds like somebody who sells cheese.
Oh.
Omar of Omaha.
Do they have a catalog like around the holiday season?
No, maybe like a little...
No, that's something else of Omaha. Yeah.
So we've got this one, and she's worn this many times, right?
Yeah, she has. She had a TV show in the 60s called The Pruitts of Southampton.
Right.
And I think she might have even worn it on that. She had a costume room in her home, wigs, costumes, and it was incredible. I thankfully met her because of my friend Rick Carl and was invited to her home and then became friends with her assistant. And as things became available, they would say, well, we know that you're doing exhibits and like this is a really choice piece.
Oh, of course.
It was not offered to just everybody, and I was so flattered that they wanted me to have it.
Right.
And she was from Northern California.
Where?
She lived in Alameda.
Oh.
And we had the same birthday, July 17th. That's what brought us together originally. When I was a kid, I found it, you know, you find out who else that's famous has your birthday, and it was Phyllis Diller. So wrote her a letter, and she'd write things back, and she'd say, to Barry, who shares my birthday with me, or what have you.
Now, what's this one?
This is also Phyllis Diller. It's much later. It's a Guy Laroche original. In fact, what's unusual about it is the first time I met her was at San Francisco State University.
Right.
And she was wearing this dress. I was sent there to photograph her for a publication called the Nob Hill Gazette, which I worked for.
Right.
And she was backstage, and I was told, you know, she doesn't want to talk a lot because she's psyching herself up for the show.
Right.
We came in, we took a photo that we needed, and it just so happened that she was wearing this dress, and then many years later, I obtained it on eBay. I was flabbergasted.
Oh my
I kind of felt like it was meant to be.
So how big is your collection? I mean, how many things like this do you have?
Oh, I had more. I'd say I have about 150 things.
My goodness.
And jewelry. In fact, speaking of jewelry, this is Phyllis Diller's costume, but very high quality 1920s costume. It was one of those items that she told Carla, her assistant, you know, offer this to Barry because that's really good costume jewelry. You don't see, I mean, it looks like diamonds, doesn't it?
No, this is wonderful. I would wear this, except my wrist is too large.
But it looks good against the black.
It does.
Yeah.
No, it would have to go with black. It's so elegant. And she wore this. Just one, not two.
Just one.
Right.
She was a very nice lady. When she was on, she was on.
I was going to ask, what is she like in person?
Very soft-spoken and down-to-earth. And
as opposed to her character.
Right. She wasn't like that.
No.
That wasn't her real way.
Oh,
she was from Lima, Ohio, originally. Moved to the Bay Area. She was a copywriter. I was once a copywriter for Mervyn's department stores, but she was a copywriter for what became Liberty House. It was called Rhodes Department Store, from Alameda. And just, I thought she was a fascinating person. And the fact that I was 13 years old writing her letters, and she was writing back.
How wonderful.
Yeah.
That's amazing. What do you say we get back to this film?
Okay.
All right, off we go.
I want to see more.
I want to see more of your stuff. The movie I do. All right, so we're going to get back to this film, and when we come back, we've got some more amazing items to show you from Barry's collection, so don't you dare go away.
Thank you.
I guess you sleep very good. Maybe.
The few times I've stayed overnight here, I slept unusually well.
It must be wonderful to have nerves like that. Tell me, just how well do you know these people?
Why, actually, not very well. I've only recently moved into the village. You know, a young doctor trying to establish a practice.
Well, I must be keeping you from your work. Good night, Doctor.
Good night.
What do you want?
Yes, you are beautiful.
How did you get in here?
So young. Such lovely skin. Sometime you too will be a bride.
I know where you're going. Someday, the master will catch you. Then you'll be sorry.
Dr. Foster! Dr. Foster! Dr. Foster! Dr. Foster! Dr. Foster!
What's wrong?
I just saw someone in my room, a horrible-looking creature. He disappeared back there.
Apparently he's not here now. Where did you see him?
Leaning over my bed.
Of course, you might have been dreaming.
I'm positive I wasn't. Earlier in the evening, Mrs. Lorenz suddenly appeared and then disappeared. Do you suppose there's another entrance to this room?
Oh, I doubt it. Why don't you try to go back to sleep? No one's going to harm you. I'm sure it was just a nightmare.
I think this whole place is a nightmare. Professor Lorenz and his wife were actually sleeping in coffins, I saw them.
We often find it difficult to explain the peculiarities of some people.
I guess so. I'm awfully sorry to bother you.
It was no trouble. If you're frightened, call me again. Good night.
Good night.
What is the trouble?
The angel. He has disturbed our guests.
Always the angel. He is a menace to us.
Yes. I think the time has come to dispose of him.
Hey, this is Clarence from Oakland, California. I just want to let you know I've been watching Creature Feature for a long time. I like Ben, I like Ken Teller and Liz Butler, whatever. I can't think his name right there, but y'all keep up the great work. Thank you.
This is Livingston, and you're watching Creature Features. Not now. Stay tuned.
Welcome back to Creature Features. I am with Jane Russell and Detective Joe Mannix.
I'm wearing Mike Connor's jacket.
You look like him.
Well, there's a good reason. He and my father were first cousins. My grandmother and his mother were sisters.
So that would make you a detective as well.
Yeah, that's it.
No, I can. And that's his coat from
the
show.
From an episode of Mannix.
And he's got the turtleneck going on.
Everything.
You know, we need to go get into a 75 Chevy and chase down criminals with Jane Russell. And we've got Jane Russell's
Mr. Blackwell original that she gave me. She loaned it to me. I was in her bedroom watching television with her. Seriously.
You were in Jane Russell's bedroom.
I was actually
sharing clothing.
I was
watching television.
I was actually watching on her bed with her. She had an eye problem, and you had to be close to the TV. And she knew I was going to be doing an exhibit. And she said, well, you know, make yourself at home to the walk-in closet and see if there's something you like. And I picked this, and I thought she was only going to loan it to me, of course. And she attended the event. It was a Sunday afternoon with Jane Russell at the Metreon in San Francisco. And she stayed at my house. She signed the door. She signed your door to your house? In the bedroom, going from the bedroom into the dressing room. And I said to her, now this is the Jane Russell dressing room.
Of course. It has to be.
Yeah.
It's a signature dressing room.
Mm-hmm.
Did you steal the door when you moved?
I haven't moved.
You haven't moved?
I haven't moved. But
you have to take the door with you.
That was the idea. I figured if I ever moved, I'd take the door, and I put another door.
Yeah.
But
unless they pay extra.
Maybe. Yeah. They might. But she later that day had to take a flight, and as we were driving to San Francisco International Airport, she said, you know, honey, I wear that gold overlay that we had at the time, but you can keep the rest of it. There was a gold piece that went over that black thing.
She just gave it to you.
She just gave it to me.
And it was designed by Mr. Blackwell.
Mr. Blackwell, the guy that had the 10 best dressed and the 10 worst dressed. And I can only say I was so flattered at an event. I was wearing white tails. And I said, well, what would you say about me? And he said, Barry, I would never say anything bad about you. You look marvelous. How can you beat that coming from him?
Guy.
He was a nice guy. Very nice guy.
You've got the Mannix coat.
And the Mannix coat.
That's amazing.
Yeah.
All right, we're going to look at some more stuff when we come back. But first, we've got to get back to this crazy house. It's like the Winchester Mystery House in this film. Mm. Have you ever been?
Oh, many times. In fact, my brother and I both swear we saw ghosts there.
At the Winchester Mystery?
Yeah, we saw.
I've been 3 times. I've seen nothing.
We saw people in an elevator that we were told later, well, that elevator hasn't worked since the 1906 earthquake. But we saw people in a moving glass elevator.
We're going to talk about this during the break.
Yeah.
All right, off we go. Back to the Corpse Vanishes. Don't you guys go away. There's more to come.
Don't be afraid, Angel. I would not hurt you.
Yes?
Good morning, Miss Hunter.
Oh, good morning. Just a minute, Dr. Foster. I want to see you.
Oh, I'm sorry. I thought you were up.
Up? I've been up all night with dead people.
Dead people? What do you mean?
Come in and I'll tell you. What kind of a place is this? Last night I had the most horrible experience of my life.
Well, what was it?
I saw lots of girls in crypts down underneath this house.
Pardon me. What was that you were saying, Miss Hunter?
Why have you a mausoleum in the basement?
Mausoleum? What are you talking about?
You know what I'm talking about. All those dead girls and that horrible dead creature.
My dear, you must have had a bad dream.
Now look, Professor, this was no dream.
When did you see all this?
Shortly after I called you and told you about that horrible creature in my room.
Is that true, Dr. Foster?
Why, I don't recall anything about it, Miss Hunter. You must be mistaken.
Well, if I was dreaming, it was the darndest nightmare I've ever had.
I slept very soundly myself.
Miss Hunter was rather upset, I think, when she retired. You see, in our dreams, our minds play strange tricks on us sometimes.
Yes, I suppose so. Oh, Professor, that orchid I brought up here to show you's gone. I couldn't find it in my bag.
That's too bad. Perhaps you forgot to pack it. Will you be down soon?
Yes, right away.
Are you coming, Doctor?
Of course.
Shall we go into breakfast?
No, thank you. I've got to get back to the city. Will you drive me to the station, Dr. Foster?
I'll be glad to.
But what about the interview?
Well, that'll have to wait until some other time. I just remembered an appointment at the office. So I've got to catch the next train. You'll excuse me, Countess?
Yes, I will excuse you.
Oh, Professor, do you also make a hobby of collecting coffins?
Why, yes, in a manner of speaking. I find a coffin much more comfortable than a bed. Many people do so, my dear. Is it so strange that I accept one while waiting for eternal rest?
No, I suppose not. Well, thank you for your hospitality. Goodbye.
I trust we will meet again. It has been so nice meeting you.
Don't tell me I'm still dreaming.
Well, what do you mean?
That gravedigger. He's real, isn't he?
Oh, he's real, all right. But I hardly think he's a gravedigger. More likely laying the foundation for a house.
You're a trusting soul, aren't you, Doctor?
Is that a crime?
No, on the contrary. I envy you.
Are you trying to make me believe you're one of those hard-boiled reporters that we read about or see in the movies?
No, but working on a newspaper, one becomes cynical and suspicious.
Portions of this program are sponsored by DoorTech, distributor of quality commercial doors nationwide.
I've enjoyed meeting you, Miss Hunter. I hope to have the pleasure of seeing you again.
I have a hunch you will, Dr. Foster.
Oh, tell me, just why did you come up here? Or is it the secret?
It is, but somehow I feel that I can trust you.
You can.
You've heard of the case of the vanishing brides.
Why, surely.
I think I have a clue.
You don't mean that you suspect...
Yes, I do. I want to show you something. What are these?
Why, they're orchids, of course.
You bet they're orchids. And they didn't grow in my dreams. They're exactly like the one that disappeared from my bag.
Where did you get them?
I found them on the floor beside my bed this morning. The person who came into my room last night must have brought these with him.
That seems like a logical explanation.
There's no question about it. Honestly, Doctor, don't you remember meeting me in the hallway last night?
No, I don't. And if I did, I must have been asleep.
Either that or you were hypnotized.
Yes, that's quite possible.
Well, watch your step. And if you discover anything, phone me.
That's a promise.
Goodbye.
Not goodbye. Au revoir.
All right, print the story on page 1. Keep your fingers crossed that this paper isn't sued for libel by some of these phony suspects that the police are bringing in.
Well, I get me a Rembrandt of the guy they just brought in.
I don't want photographs. I want real clues. The DA's office can't pick up the madman who's stealing the bodies of these dead girls. Maybe we can.
Okay, I'll throw it in a wastebasket.
No, I'll have it developed. Doyle, where's Lefty?
Over at Central Station.
The only thing he gets over there is a game of gin rummy. Tell him to get back here.
Well, I got something.
I'll say you have. You're fired.
What do you mean? You can't do that to me.
Listen, just because the bodies of dead girls disappear is no reason why you can do a vanishing act.
But you gave me the assignment.
Yeah, I suppose I did. All right, where have you been? What have you uncovered?
Well, hey, not so fast. Listen, Mr. Keenan, last night I went through the most gruesome experience of my life.
You should talk. All my life has been a nightmare.
Well, you can rest easier now because I've seen plenty. If I can only prove I wasn't dreaming.
Dreaming?
I had a dream last night myself. I dreamed you gave me that raise you've been promising me.
All right, Madame Zora, go on with your dream story.
Well, there's a certain Professor Lorenz that lives upstate. He knows all about orchids, but insists that he doesn't grow them anymore. Yet I found these in my bedroom this morning.
Listen, Dizzy, you didn't go off someplace and get married, did you?
No, I didn't. But I saw the bodies of those other missing brides.
All right. Now, take it easy. Stop breathing hard, Pat, and tell me all about it. Did you really see any bodies?
Yes and no.
I see. Just a bit of ectoplasm.
Oh, I'm sure I did, though, only... Oh, I can't explain it.
Yeah, you're suffering the same way I am. I see brides everywhere, hear wedding bells ringing in my ears.
And I saw a dead man, too. A monstrosity.
Very well.
I'd like to see Miss Hunter.
Oh, I'm sorry. She's busy. She's with Mr. Keenan.
It's very important that I see her. I'm Dr. Foster. I wonder if you'd mind announcing me.
Mr. Keenan, there's Dr. Foster here. Insists on seeing Miss Hunter.
Tell him he can have all of her time from now on.
That's the Dr. Foster I was telling you about. Maybe he has more evidence.
All right, send the sawbones in.
Hey, look, if you don't mind, I'm going out for a nervous breakdown.
Well, Doctor, you almost beat me here.
Yes, I drove down.
Dr. Foster, Mr. Keenan, my editor.
I'm very glad to meet you, Mr.
How do you
Keenan.
do? This cub reporter of mine has been telling me a weird story about a certain Dr. Lorenz up in your neighborhood.
It's weird, all right, but I'm confident it's true. After you left, I looked around the station to find out if Lorenz had any other coffins assigned to him. I found a consignment, all right, Instead of a coffin, it was a box filled with this stuff.
So what? That's ordinary garden moss.
It's moss, all right, but not ordinary. This is a special type used by florists and hybridizers for growing orchids. It's called osmundin.
Which proves that he does grow orchids like these. And the same kind were worn by every one of the brides that died.
Well, maybe it is a clue. But how do I know that the rest isn't a cockeyed nightmare? She admits that you don't remember talking to her.
I could have talked to her while in a somnambulistic state, under the influence of hypnotism.
Oh, now, wait a minute. Are you trying to tell me that this Professor Lorenz is a hypnotist as well as a horticulturist?
Why not? My short acquaintance with him has convinced me that he's a man of unlimited talents. He's strange, peculiar. I've even suspected him of being insane. But the fact remains he's not only a doctor, but a physicist and a scientist of great ability.
How about this hot-headed wife of his?
I hesitate to bring her into the case at all. Professional ethics forbids a doctor talking about his patients.
Oh, forget about your ethics, Doctor. After all, we're after a criminal. How does this woman fit into the picture? Come on, tell us all you know.
The peculiar fact about her is that although she has the appearance of a young woman, her heart and arteries indicate that she's at least 70 or 80 years old.
Well, that doesn't explain anything. Certainly doesn't explain why Dr. Lorenz should steal these dead girls.
It's possible they may still be alive.
Alive in a cataleptic state?
That's it.
All right. What are your other deductions?
Well, simply this. These young girls, whether dead or alive, are being used by Lorenz in some manner as human guinea pigs to sustain his wife in a youthful state.
Oh, that's preposterous.
It's nothing of the kind. Scientists are finding out every day that glands and hormones have a lot to do with life and health.
The glands in our bodies help determine the condition of our teeth, the texture of our hair.
All right, we'll admit all that. But I wouldn't dare print such a fantastic story.
I bring you the biggest story of the year and a chance to get this newspaper a real scoop, and you call it fantastic.
All right, I'll put Doyle on it to track it down.
I'm afraid you won't get very far. Professor Lorenz is a clever man, clever enough to withstand any investigation and destroy any evidence.
Why not track the fellow?
How?
Well, he steals dead brides, doesn't he?
Oh, now, look, Pat, do you want to be a June bride?
Well, sure. I mean, that is, no, not yet. Anyway, Lorenz knows me.
All right, then stop talking nonsense. This paper can't assume the responsibility of such a harebrained scheme.
Oh, please, Mr. Keenan, you can't pass up an opportunity like this. There she is. Cigarettes?
Hey, she's cute. Well, would you like to dance?
Later. Business before pleasure, you know. Hello, Peggy.
Hello, Pat.
Miss Woods, Dr. Foster.
Good evening, Miss Woods.
How do you do?
I have something important to tell you.
I'm all ears.
Let's go to your dressing room.
Okay.
I won't be long.
All right.
Peggy, I've landed a good part for you. A chance to prove your talent.
Really? What is it, a picture or a play?
Neither one. My paper's going to stage a phony wedding, and we want you to be the perfect June bride.
Now, wait just a
With
minute.
bridesmaids and flowers and all the trimmings.
What is it, a circulation stunt?
No. You've heard of the case of the vanishing bride.
Sure.
Well, this is a plan we have to trap the person who's been stealing their bodies.
Are you kidding?
Certainly not. The job will pay you plenty.
How will I collect if I'm dead?
You won't be dead. All you have to be careful of is not to smell any flowers.
All I do is lie 6 feet underground and push them up. Nix, count me out.
Listen, Peggy. I'm offering you a chance to get your picture on the front page of every newspaper in this country. Overnight, you'll be famous. Broadway producers and Hollywood studios will be offering you contracts. Why, it's the chance you've been waiting for.
She's the most unusual type. Such fascinating eyes.
She'll make a charming addition to our family.
June 20th.
A date we shall not forget. Faga, what are you doing in this part of the house?
Master, I keep hearing my son's voice calling for me.
Your son is better off where he is. Go back to your work.
Master, you shouldn't have done it. He didn't deserve to die.
Do what I say and don't come up here again.
Yes, master.
This is Livingston, and you're watching Creature Features. Stay tuned. This portion of Creature Features is brought to you by CreatureFeatureStore.com, the official merchandiser of Creature Feature accessories.
Tell me something, Barry Barsamian, famous collector of things. Do you think Captain Kangaroo had as much trouble with his hair as I do?
Well, it wasn't his hair.
It was not his real hair?
No, I don't believe. No, it wasn't. No,
it was a
his
wig,
hair.
but this is his real coat.
It sure is. It's from the CBS classic morning show. You remember?
Of course.
Yeah, and I sat in front of that TV. When
you said it was Saturday mornings?
No, every weekday morning.
That's what I thought.
As a preschooler, I would.
Well, you know, we did not have that in the UK. I had to watch it years later.
Oh.
No, we had those hideous marionettes.
Oh, like.
No, you're talking about Punch and Judy Livingston. I'm talking about the Jerry Anderson.
Oh, you mean Fireball XL5
Fireball XL.
And those.
No, but stuff. Before he did that, there was this like crazy girl one he did. I'll show you a clip. It was frightening.
Oh my!
But no, I would have rather watched Captain Kangaroo when I was a lad.
Yeah, they had Bunny Rabbit and Mr. Moose and Mr. Green Jeans and
Mr. Green.
Remember how his voice when he would talk, he was just so warm. You know, children. We don't have
Captain Kangaroo.
Yeah, Captain Kangaroo had this marvelous.
Well, I suppose now it would be a bit questionable.
Yeah,
right?
probably.
In this day and age.
Yeah, I guess so.
It might not come across as well.
Yeah.
But no, you seem like a very kind-hearted man. Now, did you meet Captain Kangaroo?
No, I didn't. No? This item I got it at auction. Actually, it ended up on eBay. It had been at an auction. And I think sometimes people just don't see things that are on eBay. You know, if it's at an auction, they get a catalog and they know it's coming up.
Right.
And many times collectors then want to sell something. You know, he had a few of these, but still, this was from about 1970, when they were completely in color.
So you just go on eBay every day and search for...
Not really. Not now, but I just, you know, there have been times where by accident I'm looking for something and eBay will see, oh, you might be interested in this too. You know, they have little pop-ups.
Captain Kangaroo's coat, look.
Yeah.
Look here, push by, a bid. You had to bid,
It was a bid, yeah.
Right,
yeah.
right.
Yeah.
So was it like one of those ones where you had to like keep adding bids? Or?
No, I made like one bid and nobody bid against me. I don't know how it happened that way.
Oh my goodness.
It must have been the universe was listening.
Oh, wonderful. So it came from...
This originally came from his estate.
Right.
Yeah.
No, but I mean, when you got it...
I got it from eBay.
Right, but which state was it in?
Oh, what state?
Right.
The state of confusion, I think.
Well, I'm confused as well. So when they shipped it to you, there was a label. What did the label say?
I don't remember.
Like a state, like other than California?
I really don't remember.
Oh, all right.
That I don't remember.
Because there's like always stories like, no, it was given to me by this person, then given it to that person.
It went to Arizona and then went to Honolulu and then it came to California.
Right, kind of like King Tut.
Oh, yeah,
right.
Maybe. I hadn't thought
Moved
about
to
that.
Arizona.
Oh.
Born in Balladonia. How's it go? It's a Steve Martin song. It was a good song. It was popular in the 70s. I never read it. All right, what do you say we get back to this film? We got to finish this film.
Oh.
We'll finish this film and then we're going to come back and we're going to find out what you're doing next, right?
I'm excited. You know, I have one request.
Yes.
Can I see the view from your Widow's Walk, the mansion later?
You know, that's Tangella's room up there.
Oh, it is.
So no, we'll bring her out in the next segment. You can ask.
Okay.
All right?
All right.
All right. Off we go. Back to The Corpse Vanishes, or at least the end of it soon. See you soon.
Well, everything's all set. She's young and pretty.
Yeah.
What assurance have we that this Lorenz guy will show up to make the snatch?
And what happens if he does kidnap this fake bride?
Well, the private chapel and neighborhood will be covered with guards, and, well, Lorenz hasn't a chance to escape.
Providing he shows up. And if he doesn't, I'm the sucker and out $500.
And if he does, you have an exclusive story with big, juicy headlines.
I hope you're right.
Well, blushing bride, here's where you go on for your big scene.
Or big flop. My knees are shaking.
There's nothing to be afraid of. Here's your bouquet and the phony orchid. Now, don't forget to put on your act.
Leave that to me. You got plenty of photographers out there?
Certainly.
And what about the cops?
How many times do I have to tell you nothing's going to happen to you?
Oh, Miss Hunter.
Yes?
I wanted to ask you, in this ceremony, shall we use the word cherish or obey?
You mean for the bride?
Yes.
Well, just for this once, let's put the old-fashioned word in. Obey.
I've marked the words here. Just read the ceremony slowly, solemnly.
Yes, I understand.
I hope what you're doing isn't wrong.
It's all in good cause.
Well, I suppose it is. Well, if you need me, you'll find me in my study.
Thank you. You've been grand, Reverend. You'd better go get ready.
What do I do now?
Just march down the aisle and don't forget to faint at the altar.
Well, here goes nothing.
How's everything going?
All right so far, I guess.
Good.
Ceremony's about to begin.
I certainly hope somebody shows up besides these ham actors I'm paying.
You know, it seems to me that if Lorenz were ready to strike, he'd have sent an orchid.
Just a minute. I'll take that.
Did you say orchid?
And I'll take you with it.
There you are. Looks like our man's going to pounce all right.
It looks like you're right.
A real wedding, doesn't it?
Yes. Too bad it isn't. Ours.
Is that a proposal, Dr. Foster?
It certainly is.
The minister would like to speak to you in his study, Miss Hunter.
But, oh, you mean the real minister?
Yes, ma'am.
Thank you. I'll be right back. You wanted to see me, Reverend?
Where's Pat?
The minister sent for her. I'll be right back.
Oh, Pap!
Hairstyling for the show was provided by Restoration Hair in Santa Rosa.
Please, master, don't leave me.
Toby, my son. Where is Toby, Master?
Toby's gone.
You shouldn't have left.
Stop whimpering. How's the Countess?
Waiting as usual.
Hurry up, let's go.
There was trouble,
Yes, but we'll be finished before anyone finds us.
but the bright. What will we do without them?
We have to leave him here.
Which means I will perish.
Oh, it isn't hopeless. I find other girls. In the meantime, we take this one with us.
What are you waiting for?
Well, my dear, again we meet, only under different circumstances. I would have preferred that you would be a bride, but it really doesn't matter. You will serve our purpose just as well.
Now both of my sons are gone. You betrayed me, Master.
I heard enough. There's work to do.
You betrayed me, Master. You shouldn't have done it.
Your hand is unsteady.
Can't see.
Pat. Is she dead?
No, just scared to death.
All right. Break it up. We've got headlines to write.
Do I get a byline?
After this, you can have a clothesline with my shirt on it.
I now pronounce you man and wife.
And that ends The Corpse Vanishes. Bela Lugosi dies again. Doesn't that make you sad when Bela Lugosi dies? You know, but she likes this film anyway, so. Yeah.
I heard he was buried in his Dracula suit. Did you know that?
You know, I've heard that rumor as well.
There are pictures on the internet.
Maybe it's truth. We should look it up on Snopes. Have you tried this? Snopes?
Oh, yeah.
You know, I'm confused. It might be called Snopes. I'm not entirely sure.
I thought it was Scope. Oh no, that's a gargle mouthwash.
Oh, right. All right, so we're still with Barry Barsamian, who is a collector of things, and we've seen an entire collection of your things, which were amazing things, right? I mean, do you collect anything else?
Well, I started as a kid collecting coins and collecting stamps and magazines and then autographs. And then I just felt like to have something that truly belonged to a person, it had a lot of like their essence.
Essence? No, I smelled the essence of Lucille Ball's wig.
Oh yeah.
No, you should start a thing where you go to like carnivals and offer for like $5 to smell Lucille Ball's head.
Really?
I would pay.
Well, you know what? Her family might have a problem with that.
No,
They're
you're right.
legal rights.
That's true.
You know?
No. People's aromas can be copywritten and trademarked. No, I'm sure. I had a bit of legal training, and I believe I read something about that. All right. Well, Barry, what are you doing next?
Well, I'm in the process of writing a book, and I work as a manager of the Orinda Theater in beautiful Orinda, California.
We know this place.
Yes, it's a 1941 movie palace, and there's nothing like it.
We have friends there as well.
Oh, and the best popcorn in the world, and best movies, and best people to work with.
Well, okay. Tell us about the book, though.
Well, the book is something that I've been working on for many years. I don't want to give you the title yet because, of course, that'll change. But it's about my friendships with people like Barbara Eden, June Lockhart,
Shirley Temple Black.
Shirley Temple Black and Lucille Ball, and those
that would be a wonderful book.
Yeah.
You need to finish this, and then you need to come back when it's finished, and then we will pitch it.
Oh well, that would be nice.
And then we'll read from it.
Okay.
Between movie segments.
Oh,
right?
Yeah, you'd be surprised the things that
no,
Shirley told me.
I bet you have secrets.
Do you know why Shirley Temple had curls when she different curls than yours, but she had little curls.
Right.
She said because my ears stuck out when I was a kid.
Oh, is that it?
And that covered.
I have the same problem. That's why.
You do?
Oh. I would have hair short like yours if it wasn't for my Dumbo ears.
Oh, is that it?
All right. Well, thank you so much for coming, Barry. We're going to have you again soon when the book's ready.
And thank you.
We will see you again soon. As far as you guys go, thank you for staying up late with us. We love it when you do, because if you don't stay up late with us, you're staying up late with somebody else, and that could lead to problems. We don't want that to happen now, do we? We'll see you next week. Different movie, different guest, and same Tangella. See you next time. So, Barry, with you collecting wardrobes, famous wardrobes, I'm thinking maybe when I retire, you might want to add this to your collection.
Well, did it belong to someone famous?